All right. So okay. Some people aren't as mad as I am or as upset as I am, but Blizzard is going to be charging for the story mode that we're getting, the watered down story mode, the archive events. And let me explain how I know that they're souped up archive events. Let me explain, because there was an entire post as well as a read up, and let me explain how it works. First of all, the invasion bundle is going to cost $15. You get permanent access to the invasion story missions. Okay, keep that in mind, permanent access. Please keep that in mind. It's important for this conversation. You get 1,000 Overwatch coins as well as a Sojourn legendary skin. Okay. Furthermore, you can also do the Ultimate Invasion Pack bundle, which is $40, a legendary skin for Cassidy and Kiriko, the Null Sector Premium Battle Pass with 20 tier skips, an additional 1,000 Overwatch coins, and all the previous rewards. Okay, so let's really focus on the cheapest one, $15. The Battle Pass itself costs $10, so a lot of people are saying, oh, it's not really a bad deal, even if you don't care about the Sojourn skin, which I don't think a lot of people do. Let's say you don't care about it at all. You're getting the Battle Pass for $10 anyways, and you're paying an extra $5 for the story missions. For confirmation, it's 3 missions. It is 3 missions. Here's my freaking problem. Since the start, I've been pretty brutal on Blizzard. And you know what? I have not bought a single Battle Pass. I have not bought any Overwatch coins. Not even once. I just never have, and I was never planning to. Now, as a content creator, I most likely will have to buy the invasion one when the next one comes around, because I literally want to try out the story and make content on it, right? Like, even if it's just for fun, even if I don't spam upload this channel, I still wanted to do it for fun and give you guys my honest opinion. Is it worth your money? I will feel a little bit obligated to do so. Now, is it worth your money? I don't know yet. But 3 missions for $15. If you're going to buy the battle pass anyways, then it's $5. But if you weren't, like I was, then it's still $15, because I wouldn't have bought the battle pass. Like, this is some sort of little trickery to kind of put you in. And just to keep in mind, it's not like you instantly get the battle pass. You just get 1,000 Overwatch coins, but you can't buy shit with 1,000 Overwatch coins. All you can buy is the battle pass. So again, some marketing little tactic. It's the battle pass. Let's be honest. That's the only thing worth your money at that point. They know what they're doing. All right. Now we're going to get invasion gameplay on June 21. I'll try my best to cover it then. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we get invasion gameplay on June 21. Furthermore, the story missions have no single player mode. They are only multiplayer. Only multiplayer. The missions always consist of other human players, and there's no current way to play alongside team bots. Why does this matter? Because we circle back to the point that I personally highlighted with you guys. You keep them permanently. But if you keep them permanently, but can only play them online, what does this mean for the long term? How many times is someone going to replay 3 missions with no skill tree or progression to incentivize those players to keep playing those exact same 3 story missions? They are souped up archive events right now. That's exactly what they are. How many times would you replay archive events over and over as time goes on? There's already diminishing returns. So you don't really own anything for the long term when you have to lean on the shoulders of other players to queue in with you. That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. Now, here comes the next thing. The Toronto mission, which is one of the missions, one of 3 missions, lasted 31 minutes. Game Informer says, I was pleasantly surprised by not only how massive the map is, but also by how diverse the battles felt. Now, let's assume all of them are 30 minutes. Let's round down 1 minute. Okay, let's assume all of them are 30 minutes. And let's also assume, this is not to jab at them, but let's also assume this game journalist at Game Informer was top tier. So they played it perfectly. Let's say, okay, I mean, highly doubt it, but that's not a jab at them. That's more of like, you know, the better you are as a player or as a team, the faster you'll complete them. But let's just say 30 minutes for math's sake. 3 missions means it'd be an hour and a half of content. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter. It's not good. Some people are going to say like, no, dude, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not good. An hour and a half for $15 is weaker than most DLCs for AAA games or indie titles. It's not okay. And they're not that type of story mission. They're not DLC for an indie game or AAA game. They're not. They're going to have some cutscenes. If 30 minutes is part of cutscenes, then how much gameplay are you playing? Because he said 31 minutes total, and there's supposed to be cutscenes. You had cutscenes, how long is it? And they're not very replayable. At least that's the... Blizzard hasn't proved to us that they're going to be after that original announcement. You know what I mean? That's just a fact. Dude. That's just insane. My brain isn't adding this up properly. Means if I were to spend $15, I open up Overwatch 2. All right. I never wanted to buy the battle pass. Let's keep that in mind. Pretend I didn't want to buy the battle pass because personally, I've never done so. I open up a free game. I pay $15. Let's say it's 3 p.m. my time, okay, or 4 p.m. my time, after work or after school. I open up the game. I pay $15 by 5:30. So from 4 to 5:30 before dinner, I'm done everything, and I'm never playing these 3 things again. That's it. I'm done the archive missions, and that's it. Archive missions with cutscenes is what I'm guessing. Now, with all that being said, I will give a more comprehensive opinion and review when I try it, like I've done with game modes and countless other things. While I scrutinize Blizzard, I still always give stuff a shot. But this ain't looking too hot. To say the least, this ain't looking too hot. Now, I didn't decide to read the entire Game Informer post in one go. I just want to give my opinion instead this time. But just so you know, the Invasion season does include a new bonus co-op mission that takes place on King's Row. The mission is called Underworld and lets players battle through never-before-seen areas of King Row to guide an armed push bot forward on a mission to save Iggy and the Omnic Underworld from Null Sector. This mission will include new objectives and enemies that Blizzard hints players might recognize. This update will also add hero mystery missions to test your skills behind your favorite characters. Okay, but how are we gonna be fed this story? Well, Keller wasn't ready to talk about when the next group of story missions will be made available, but assures players that the team is working on more story missions that has grand plans for the futures. Additionally, the team aims to be reactive to player feedback on the first missions and adjust accordingly. Overwatch 2 Invasion, aka Season 6 of Overwatch 2, kicks off with the first 3 story missions on August 10th. So yeah, this of course is all regarding Season 6, which starts August 10th with no current timeline on the next story missions. So yes, we're going to be drip fed 1.5 hours of content at a time. Hopefully more than that in the future, but again, just not looking good at all, dude. And it doesn't help that they're already reusing some stuff. So they say that my hands-on session takes me to Toronto. This mission begins with a previously on segment consisting of cutscenes and animations from various previously released videos and stills in the Overwatch lore. So they're reusing assets here. Toronto is in the middle of the first story mission arc, so I appreciate getting caught up on the story. This upcoming release delivers 8 new cinematics and a seemingly immeasurable amount of voice lines, meaning out of the hour and a half, again, that's all estimate if we're doing 30 minutes times 3, there's also tons of like 8 standalone cinematics. So that takes into the runtime of gameplay. This PvE release will bring players to the largest maps Overwatch has ever seen. For these maps, Blizzard created all new streaming tech and developed new tools to make it work. As I load into the mode, I arrive at a computer terminal. This communication screen allows me to dive deeper into Overwatch lore with dedicated pages of emails and communications from other members of the team. Okay. Or even look around at photographs on the desk to trigger voice lines. Once I'm ready for missions, I can initiate it from this computer terminal. I'm not going to knock them too much because a lot of games do this. So you can look around, initiate voice lines, go through emails. But if this is always with multiplayer, do I just stall the other 3 as I read like 30 emails? I'm going to be pissed. I don't care about reading too much personally. I don't care about reading lore. They either tell it to me, give me a good story, or it's poor. This goes for any game in my opinion. Imagine I have this one dude like reading through all the emails and I'm just trying to start the event. It better not be like that. Oh man. No, I think that's all a standalone, and then the computer terminals where you access the story missions. But they go on to say these story missions will always consist of other human players, whether match-made or through your squad. The developers tell me that if a player drops, a bot may take over in the interim, but there's no current way to play alongside a team of bots. With my squad full of Overwatch developers, I feel pretty confident, so we choose hard difficulty, which despite its name is only the second highest difficulty level. When you go into a mission, you can select normal, hard, expert, or legendary. With that out of the way, we start the mission. The opening cinematic shines a light on what's going on in Toronto. Null Sector is attacking humans and grabbing Omnics who haven't gone rogue. Null Sector makes their point very clear. Humans have treated Omnics like servants for far too long, and it's time to liberate them. Null Sector ambushes a nearby group of humans and Omnics, but thankfully Sojin shows up just in time to spring into action and save the day. Shortly thereafter, Cassidy, Reinhardt, and various other members of Overwatch emerge from the shadows, led by none other than Winston. At the character select screen, we're limited to the characters who make sense for this particular mission. In this case, it's team members who were in the cutscene, which encompasses the heroes of Overwatch. However, it's not that simple, as characters like Torbjorn, Soldier 76, and Zenyatta aren't around at this point in time. I choose Cassidy to take advantage of his new magnetic grenade, decent mobility, and solid range. Meanwhile, my teammates choose Mercy, Winston, and the mission required Sojourn. Their narrative plays out through the missions and the accompanying cutscenes, but based on which characters were selected by the team. You'll hear different interactions and pick up unique story bits. So that's kind of cool. It changes the cutscenes and interactions based off which characters you choose. They're not just solid. So that's where I say souped up archive, because it's like improved archive missions. Our mission in Toronto is to evacuate the humans and Omnics out of the city as soon as we get out of the spawn room. We begin fighting off waves of null sector grunts to protect the evac ship. These basic enemies are easy enough to pick off, but one part I didn't expect was for them to be destructible. Just when I thought I had bested one by blowing its head clean off with Cassidy's pistol, it continued to charge towards me. With another, I blow away its legs, but it keeps crawling on the ground in my direction. I finish them off again in short order as a wave of Omnics stream into the ship. We pause the evacuation to fend off more null sector grunts, but this time they're accompanied by artillery bots. These enemies have giant mounted blasters that can deal heavy damage from far away. Like the grunts, they're destructible, so we target the massive guns. With their ability to deal most of their damage taken away, they don't pack quite the same punch as they did just moments before. We survive the wave and more Omnics flood into the ship. We repeat this cycle with the waves of enemies increasingly targeting the ship. With dog-like robots whose sole purpose is to damage the ship, we keep defending it, keeping an eye on the ship's health, and thankfully we thwart the null sector attack and the ship escapes. Holy, they're literally just reading out the whole mission! Bro typed out the entire mission! Huh? I didn't expect that. From there, we continue through the downtown area, as with most games, clearly defined combat arenas give you hints that the enemies will be arriving soon, but you also fight some random null sector bots en route to them. The next big encounter introduces a new menace to the Overwatch crew, Stalkers. These mean bots pull nearby players in with gravity beams and unleash hell on them. Stalkers are among the most dangerous enemies we encountered in our playthrough of the mission, as someone getting pulled in by one often led them to being downed and in need of revival. It's the best to keep your distance. As we continue through, we meet up with Claire and Omnic trying to help Overwatch in its mission. As we work through the powered down underground metro, we encounter our next enemy type, the Subjugator? These floating null sector robots will largely ignore the player characters in favor of going after friendly Omnics. If they latch on, they attach a metal clamp to their head, disabling them. We see this happen to one unfortunate Omnic during a mid-mission cutscene, and it's clear it's not a good thing. Okay, this seems so basic. Okay, this is a pretty basic write-up. Throughout the remainder of the mission, we must fend off massive groups of grunts, subjugators, artillery, and stalkers, while learning more about the leader of null sector. Could a face-off against Ramatra be in the near future? One combat sequence even includes an elite version of the grunt, which packs an extra punch and requires more damage to take down. This battle in particular almost does us in when Stalkers down both Mercy and Winston, but by working with Sojourn on my team, we can survive. Okay. We get to the final area of the mission, an all-out push to an evac ship of our own in the middle of a park. The numbers standing against us are overwhelming. Null Sector really wants to keep Overwatch and Claire from getting away. At one point, I turn the corner to come face to face with 3 artilleries. I do Cassidy's ultimate to deal a good amount of damage, but my Blizzard teammates know better than me, and they tell me to get on the evac ship. I do just that, and the mission comes to an exciting end. As we watch the end of the mission cutscene, Cassidy says Winston should give up on finding Soldier 76 as Jack is too busy chasing Ghost. Genji decides it might not be a good idea to recruit Zenyatta, so he heads off in that direction. Meanwhile, the rest of the team heads off to Torbjorn in hopes that he will have some way to remove the Omnic head clamps the sub-Jegotars install. Though I only played one mission, it was a chunky piece of gameplay. Without taking into account the cutscenes, our playthrough through this Toronto mission lasted 31 minutes. I was pleasantly surprised by not only how massive the map is, but also by how diverse the battles felt. Not only that, but you're given the added bonus of receiving a battle pass progress for your effort. So that's why they want to bundle them together. Okay, so they do confirm that it's 31 minutes of gameplay, so that hour and a half estimate is gameplay time, not counting cutscenes. I don't know how long the cutscenes are, but I do have to retract that statement and do a little bit of an apology. I just missed this little line right here. It's still not much, so I'm not worried about how I said it, because again, not that much. Then they talk about pricing, then they talk about the bonus mission, and then Keller says, though the hero missions were cancelled, the team took some time to work with the work that they did on those and repurpose them into other content. The event missions that we're releasing in Season 6 is based off some of the hero missions that we've built. We would like to look at reusing more of that stuff in the future, because I think there's a lot of really, really cool things that we've done there. So they are repurposing hero missions as sub-event missions that everyone will play one time instead of some massive thing. So again, it is watered down. That much is just the truth. But either way, that covers most of the big things that I wanted to mention. Let me know what you think. I'm still a little bit meh on everything.